Hello, everybody. This is Zikri Khalil again. Here we are at It Matters, where everything we talk about really matters. Simply put, today we have a very special guest who represents the majority of the population of seahorses. And you're wondering why seahorses. And that's why we're here to find out why seahorses matters in many, many ways in our lives. So without further ado, we're going to invite our special guest for today, Mr. Adam Lim from the Save Our Seahorses Malaysia. And let's give him a warm applause, everybody. Da, 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 da. Welcome, Adam Lim, to the
Hey,
ITMATTERS show. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm doing great, underworked, overworked, under-traveled, underpaid, the usual nonsense. Uh, but it's great to see you smiling, feeling positive, looking bright for the upcoming lockdown, I guess. But maybe you can share us a bit more. Who are you, Adam?
So basically, I'm the current chairperson for Save Our Seahorses Malaysia, or in a very easy way to put it is I'm a seahorse nerd, right? So there's people call me, Mr. Seahorse or the Seahorse brother, that kind of things. That's what I'm commonly known as here in Malaysia. But essentially, what I do is basically I serve the seahorses in Malaysia. So I study them, I help them out, where they need some a little bit more of a voice. We lend a voice to those who cannot speak to us directly. So this is where not only myself and my team and I represents the seahorses of Malaysia to basically tell their story to every Malaysian.
Right. I mean, so is there a particular problem with seahorses at the moment? I mean, knowing how you represent the notion of the being itself, the seahorses, is there something that we should know compellingly why these seahorses matter to you so much?
Well, for me, it's very straightforward. Pretty much like everybody else. When I first hear, learn about seahorses, we're just like, wow, this is truly amazing animal. It's different than the usual. What we know as they are fishes. But they don't look like a fish. So really unique. Have a face of a horse. Hence, people call them seahorses because they are found only in the marine environment for that. So, but what really attracted me to seahorses is that, basically, it's a good, probably back in 2006. I'm actually a volunteer for Save Our Seahorses Malaysia. So I did not found Save Our Seahorses Malaysia, but that was for my late mentor, the late Mr. Chu Ji Kwang, who is my lecturer, as well as my undergraduate supervisor. So, but what really attracted me to seahorses is that I was out there in the field, actually down south in Johor, in between Johor and Singapore. So it's like we are actually walking in the middle of the sea, close to the second link and what we know today. And this is where I spot my first pair of seahorses. My first pair of seahorse. It was early in the morning, and I know they were, the female came over to the male seahorse. They got attracted, and they was doing the courtship dance. So seahorses are one of the excellent dancers of the bottom of the ocean. So looking at that firsthand, that totally drew me over to start looking more into detail, what seahorses really are. And with that, I found out, there's so many different things I can share about, but more importantly, seahorses are not protected in Malaysia. That's one. Lots of people don't even know that we have seahorses here in Malaysia. But more importantly, but more importantly is that there are lots of things going on around where affecting the home of the seahorses. So this is where, after suddenly found, love at first sight with seahorses, I found out, hey, maybe I can do something to help them. This is how got me to today.
And is that how it led you to participate actively with the Save Our Seahorses Malaysia?
Yep. So how it all started, when you first had a first sight of something that is truly amazing, naturally, we want to go back to it again. So that's how I volunteered for my third time. But like how life goes, the second, third time, whenever you want to find something in particular, you won't get it. So that, sort of like pique more and more my curiosity. And over time, I got explored more to how to really look out for seahorses in the wild. That's when I found out, the reason why I'm not been spotting them, because seahorses can camouflage. They are basically chameleons of the bottom of the sea. So they can change color and just hide away. Yeah.
Is
So
there? Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. So there is how, little by little, I found out, the amazing characteristics, how seahorses are just so charismatic. We hear them everywhere, in TV shows, in documentaries, in picture books, even children's storybooks. So yeah, so that's a little by little, my interest, like a little kid. I just developed that over time.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing how you capsulate your interest for a specific animal. Most people can relate to what they love: cats, dogs, birds. I think you're probably the first person I know who knows seahorses in and out. And yeah, I mean, I have to be frank, So, but the main thing I wanted to ask you about seahorses is, why do they really matter to the work that they are doing within the ecosystem, within the ocean bed or the coral reefs? Everyone knows seahorses are cute, and now we've learned that it has this amazing ritual dance when they meet the opposite sex. But what role do they play in the whole ocean landscape, in the ecosystem itself, within the coral reefs? Because I've read a bit about that, and I would think you would be the best person to share more on this particular subject, because because there's also a problem of seahorses as well.
Yeah. So in fact, Sikri, that is very, very true. And when I first started it, I have the exact same question as you do. And not only that, I do not only share that, a lot of my colleagues working on seahorses on a global scale, we were busy trying to figure out this really, really simple question. What exactly does seahorse, what role do they play in the ecosystem? But it's not until, over the past, more recent 10 years, that we finally figure out that actually seahorses, they sit at the very top of the of the food chain. Pretty much of what we are familiar with, with the sharks as the top apex predator, is like the tigers and like the lions. But seahorses, cute as they may, they are one of the top predators of the bottom of the ocean. So they keep the health of the bottom of the ocean in check. Whether it's in the coral reef or whether it's in the seagrass habitat, whether it's in the seaweed environment, it's all the tiny little creatures where the shark would not be even bat an eye just to look at them or even consume them, prey. This is where the seahorse really truly is. And being a top apex predator, they do not have any true animals or predators that just specifically feed on seahorses. So that really puts them right at the top. And that's how they are important in keeping the health of the whole underwater marine ecosystem in check.
Okay, so it's nothing to do with the dying coral reefs or the in itself as its role, because I never expected it to be an apex predator itself. Hard to spot once you're scuba diving to look for them, and also did not know the role of a seahorse is pretty much. Would you say it's on top of the food chain and putting things in order?
Yep, they pretty much sit at the very top of the food chain for all the tiny little critters they will have at the bottom of the marine ecosystem. What you mentioned is correct as well. We have other problems that really affect the seahorses, like the dying corals. It's not only the corals, because seahorses can be found in all marine habitats. So we have seahorses that lives in the corals. We have seahorses that lives just in the barren sandy bottom, just sand. We have seahorses in the slightly deeper waters, but most in the sea fans that we normally go to Sipadans, people scuba dive to look out for them. Those are pygmy seahorses. In basically all marine habitats as long as it's under the ocean, even in the mangroves, not into our rivers, we have not found any seahorses there to date. So truly sticking to its name, sea and horses, they look like horses and belong to the sea. Seahorses are one of the worst swimmers that you can find under the ocean as a fish. So terrible swimmers. Being that, that's where this camouflage ability that they have that truly helps them to protect themselves from anything that's larger that comes around. Sometimes we have like dolphins opportunistic feeding on seahorses just accidentally, or just a food lying around. But ultimately, seahorses are very, very site faithful. That means they are almost certain to be found in the exact same location. If you go back there, probably in a month time.
Okay.
So they're so site faithful that if the habitat goes, if it's just died off, chances are the seahorses will be exposed and they will let them in more danger than they truly are.
Okay, got it, got it. I mean, this is a lot of insights already, and as part of the Save Our Seahorses organization in Malaysia, what are the initiatives that you are working on, and what are they mostly related to? Is there a bigger problem that we're not seeing here? Is there something that we should know that it does affect us as even an individual, ordinary person like me, or a teacher in a school? Why should we pay attention to seahorses and in that sense?
All right. So for this part, I'm just going to take one step back and just to share why seahorses with Save Our Seahorses Malaysia. So very straightforward. Seahorses, I just shared that, they are found in all marine habitats, not only in Malaysia, but on a global scale as well. This is where we use seahorse as our champion, our flagship species animal to champion for marine conservation in general. So by protecting the habitat where the seahorses can be found, we are also protecting the other animals, they're equally important, that shares exactly the same habitat. So this is one reason where seahorses, being charismatic, acts as an icon for us here at Save Our Seahorses Malaysia, and all my other colleagues who work with seahorses and its family as well. All right, so that's one part, and I think that's very, very important for me to share. The second thing that I would like to touch about, exactly again, why seahorses? It's like seahorses are slowly getting the attention on a global scale in terms of the different kinds of government. Why is that so? It's because seahorses are one of the highly traded marine animal for traditional medicine, and not only that, for as pets, basically out of their cuteness and a lot of curiosity that piques with a lot of people around the world. So it became a threat to seahorses in such a way they are being harvested from the wild, not as to work as pets, not only as pet, as part of an ingredient for traditional medicine in general. That being said, there are other factors. For example, our rapid development on the coastal sites that are affecting the home of the seahorses, as well as we have a lot of destructive fisheries, like massive trawl catches that sweeps everything from the bottom of the ocean. Like I said, seahorses are terrible swimmers, so chances are they're being caught up in the net. So this is they cannot protect or swim away to save themselves. But here, what we do here is to raise the awareness of seahorses. Reason we are doing so is because, number one, seahorses are not protected in any capacity here in Malaysia. So this is what we are trying to do. Our one vision and one direct goal that we have is to get some form of protection for seahorses here in the country. Yep.
Understood. Yeah, I've heard about these really barbaric techniques used to clean up the ocean floor from the fishing industry, and now it makes sense with how seahorses are terrible swimmers. I knew people were having seahorses as pets, but I can't imagine how terrible the harvesting process could be. And if we were to take the seahorses out of the equation within the ecosystem, what impact are we looking at here if this continues?
Well, if we take out the seahorses from the ecosystem, is one direct impact. Because seahorses primarily, they are vicious predators. Sometimes I go out and I give talk. People ask me, what exactly is a seahorse? I always tell people, seahorses are ninjas. Why ninjas? So they are one of the top predator that ambushes prey, sneak up upon its prey, and they just continue to eat and eat and eat. So here's a little bit fun fact: a single seahorse, an adult seahorse, can consume up to 3,000 preys in a day.
Whoa!
So this is where they come in. They keep the balance of the whole ecosystem in check. Favorite food: copepods and shrimps, and basically anything tiny they can fit its snout. They do so, they feed on the things that are weaker, control its number of the shrimp. If we have like a huge, removing the seahorses, you would have an overflow, outright breeding of some of the animals that normally seahorses prey on. And that would in turn will fall back upon into our vegetation, the planktons and the sea grasses and and the seaweeds that the shrimps normally graze on, would just get wiped out, and then it all comes in a domino effect.
Wow, that's crazy. 3,000 a day.
Yep.
That's massive, man. I mean, I think they're the champions of eating whatever they can, per pound to pound, So, so I think we're pretty much. I'm quite stunned by a lot of this information because I can learn a lot of things with you, Adam, in a few minutes rather than watching documentaries of seahorses on YouTube or on Discovery Channel, which is hours of it. So I want to thank you for that, and I want to see how we and all the audience, how can we play our part? We understand that you have the organization Save Our Seahorses, but what kind of call to action do you have for all of us on those who resonate with what you've said today? How can we be part of it? How can we help? How can we join? What can we do? What are the projects that you have right now that really matters to you for the sake of our seahorses in Malaysia that we can partake in?
All right, so this is where, based on our experience, Save Our Seahorse has been established in 2005. We've been working out in the field. We have scuba diving surveys. We have surveys out in the field. We call for citizen scientists to join us to look for seahorses and all. But over the years, this is where we realized, this has really hit us. How can we get more people to participate? How can we get more people to help us out? To share with the knowledge. In fact, I dare say, everyone here in Malaysia, we have some form of encounter or knowledge about seahorses already, right up in our head, over in our family as well. So what we're having now is actually a project called Tracing Our Seahorses that we are, partnered up with the Incitement here. So the number one thing that I would like to call upon everyone who's watching this to help us out. We have a little survey that's going on. We are collecting seahorse stories from fellow Malaysians. So this survey is going to guide us, guide you through filling up the survey. Have you seen a seahorse, or have you heard about consumption of seahorses? What do you think does it do? So we're collecting from people from all walks of life, different kinds of age group, all different kinds of ethnicity, and hopefully, at the end of this project, we want to be able to tell a Malaysian seahorse story. We always hear about stories, seahorses being part of the Greek mythology, Poseidon sitting on a chariot with led by seahorses. We have in the Irish archaeology, we have seahorses in the building structures, but something is missing for to help us really push for how seahorses can be truly made a home here in Malaysia. Is that we need a Malaysian seahorse stories. And how can you help? How can you help is by following us here, not only on the Incitement here through our project, also on our our Instagram page, Save Our Seahorses Malaysia, as well as Facebook page. We have all the different kinds of activity, and as well as we want you to fill up this survey, to share with us how, what you know about seahorses. It's, enough of me telling you what I know about seahorses, but I want you to share what you know. Not only that, help us by reaching out to more people with this survey form. You can use this, it's in times of pandemic and COVID, we need something to connect back with the people that we have, then the people that we know, whether it's family, close friends or not. Can use this form. Hey, there's this seahorse survey going on around. Do you know anything about seahorses? Maybe just take 5 minutes, use as an icebreaker, or just to reconnect with the people that you know. Yeah. So that's the very main thing that we want. Here at Save Our Seahorses, me and my team truly wish you guys to help us out. On top of that, we also have a crowdfunding going on, raising funds. When things get better, we'll be able to reach out to more people outside of the the urban areas, outside into small little towns to where they have tons of seahorse knowledge. We want to get those kind of information, and at the end of the day, maybe publish and tell this Malaysian seahorse story.
Amazing. You're such a magnificent man, Adam. The way how you articulate the importance of seahorses, I give you my 100% respect and honesty. So much novelty there, but so much potential on how we could craft a better seahorse for Malaysia and save them as much as we can and create as much as awareness. do you have any other last messages before we end the show?
Yep. We'll be looking to, you have heard a little bit more about some of the little interesting facts and fun facts that I just mentioned a little bit more early on. There were calls for people to, for me to give more information. So we are looking to do a little bit, bite-sized information that people can just, just take it along with them to learn a little bit more about seahorses today. And who knows, you can just talk about seahorses. Just keep like me, like myself, go around, talk a little bit more about seahorses. It's always fun with them.
I mean, I can't thank you enough. I think I have enough equipped information for myself to be able to share seahorse stories to my nephew and my close friends. So I thank you again, Adam, for joining us, and thank you for joining us at It Matters, the new show of Incitement Talks. And I hope to see your project thrive and capture the people of Malaysia and be behind your back in making seahorses matter again.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Adam. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you.